One of the things that we as women usually face at some point in life is restarting our career after a break or a sabbatical. Or maybe we just want to switch to different careers and have inhibitions about the same. So we have Kimberley Odewahn with us today. She's the program manager for AWS Restart, which is a job training program that prepares learners for cloud computing careers. And in fact, we'll be talking more about it in this session. Kimberley is joining us from Sydney, Australia. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kimberley. How are you feeling today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you for having me today. I'm really looking forward to the session.
That's great. That's fantastic, Kimberly. But please tell us something about you, your current role. What are you doing at AWS right now?
Okay, I lead the AWS Restart Program for Australia and New Zealand. And this is a program to really help unemployed and underemployed people find careers in cloud computing.
Wow, that's interesting. But before we actually dive deep into talking about what AWS Restart is, I actually want to discuss a very fascinating story, which is about you, about your career trajectory from being a florist at one point of time to now transitioning to a tech role. So please tell us more about this pivot experience and how did you even make it possible?
Yeah, for sure. So, I was a girl that grew up on a farm and wasn't really aware of, what careers and opportunities were out there. And as you say, I started work as a florist and I quickly found out that that was not going to pay the bills. So I undertook the process of doing a business course, so a basic business course in administration. And then I, applied my CV to a whole bunch of companies and then was given an opportunity at a software development company, just working in administration. And that was, at the bottom of the rung, entry level position. And it was a fantastic job. I was fortunate to find, mentors within that company that saw potential in me. And they gave me the opportunity to try new things. And within 3 months of being there, they said, we need to organize a tour around Australia and New Zealand and Singapore with a large IT company. Is this something that you would be interested in doing? And that's where I put my hand up and I said yes to that opportunity. And that was really the beginning step for me to finding a pathway within the organization. It gave me exposure to really some senior people within the business and also within the industry, but it gave me a whole bunch of skills that I could learn in that space. And along the way, I've had to do many, many pivots, having taken time out twice to raise a family and have children. I found it really interesting trying to get back into the workforce, making those connections, keeping connections while you're off and you're out of the industry. But, I then started taking on innovation consulting work, which was a fantastic opportunity and gave me an opportunity so that when I went to look back for a full-time role, I had a few experiences under my belt that I could really point to talk about how I had progressed my career and what I could potentially offer a new employer.
Yes, Kimberly, you rightly mentioned, in fact, you're telling about when you had children, you had to pivot and you had to take a break, which I think a lot of women can relate to this because once they are, taking the sabbatical, they are taking, and they are like, where do we start now? How do we start? They are facing similar challenges. So I also want to understand from your end, what did you find most challenging while you were pivoting your career? And how did you actually decide, okay, this tech is something that I want to move to?
So tech is a really interesting space. And I think we're seeing a transition away from just seeing it as traditional tech, which is all zeros and ones, to really new tech, which is all about problem solving. And so when I made that connection, and my work in innovation actually was quite helpful in that, where I used to run things like hackathons, where it was talking about, okay, let's take technology. Technology is the tool that you use at the end, but really this is about problem solving. And so for me, that pivot, that when it was when I was able to make that connection and really kind of get myself back into the tech space. I looked at what are my problem solving skills. I look all the way back to when I was a florist, for instance. One thing when you're a florist is, when people go to visit a florist, it's a very emotional situation. So you have to learn how to kind of understand that person, how to empathize. And when we're talking about IT and tech, they are really valuable skills because it's really understanding the context and the problem. So then you can progress to problem solving. So, that is where I applied that information. And then I was able to build that story. And it was being able to tell a story to a potential employer about how you have those transferable skills that you can use in their context. I think that was a crucial kind of pivot point for me, particularly, when I joined AWS. I had been out of the workforce, and, this AWS is a fantastic company and I really wanted to work for them. So it was really honing in on what are those key things how can I add value to that organization, and what other things can I point to in my past that can help me explain that and tell that story.
Right, Kimberly. I think having problem solving skills is the biggest skill set one can actually have, right? And this is irrespective of any role that you have, right? And this can contribute to a lot of companies, different industries, different roles, right? And I think what you mentioned, right, that you have to think to yourself, what is it that I am bringing to the table? What is the value that I am adding to this role that can be actually beneficial in my long-term career, right? But talking about the skills, I actually remember a few years back, I was trying to switch from my marketing generalist profile to a product marketing manager a few years back, and I kept on getting rejected, saying that I do not have the right skill set. So, how did you overcome that in your initial job roles when you were just starting out from being a florist to your new job?
Yeah, I think it was, again, looking at those transferable skills. But the other thing that I did was I studied part-time. And I think that demonstrated to potential employers that I was continuing my learning and the direction that I was heading in. And that was very helpful. And often when you're studying, on the side, it's a really good idea to try and build something in your own time, or utilize your skills, or volunteer with organizations. Those sorts of opportunities give you the ability to build a portfolio. So you may not have that full-time position on your CV, but you can point to what you've been doing. And there's plenty of volunteer organizations that are really looking for people that can help them. And, just build something, just try stuff, build that portfolio, and that will kind of strengthen the story that you have. That combination of demonstrable skills that you have through your projects, looking at what your transferable skills are from previous industries, combined with your current training, gives them a direction of what the future looks like. That actually starts to build that comprehensive story.
Yes, I think learning is very important, right? You need to keep on learning new things to be able to, deliver to the job and stand out for yourself. But tell me, if you do not have a relevant work history and you're just learning on new things, and people actually look forward to relevant work experience, in that case, how do you stand out for yourself?
Yeah, I used to run innovation programs, and I used to run hackathons. And I used to see a lot of people, particularly in the tech space, coming in to really get a chance to flex their muscles and to try things out. Now, those sorts of events, as well as user groups and those sorts of, there's a whole bunch of different groups that, that interest groups that you can join, give you an opportunity to problem solve, work with projects, but also have a chance to meet individuals. And so, it's always you'll see a lot of the tech companies will visit these sorts of events, specifically looking for people that are, that are putting their hand up, that are asking questions, that are willing to learn, and they're willing to do things. And I think those sorts of building a profile that way is actually a really good way to build some relevant experience, build your knowledge, make sure keep relevant, and make sure that you've got a really solid foundation of skills that you can draw in on.
Yeah, I think you're really right. And I think Amazon are also focusing on this leadership principle, right? Learn and be curious. And I think if you can show that in your profile by showing maybe, add-on projects that you have done or the voluntary things that you have done, that can actually take you a long way, right? But Kimberly, times are really changing for the betterment of women. And what opportunities you think we have for women in tech industry right now versus when you started in the tech industry a few years back?
And look, I really think the sky is the limit. There were always opportunities there, but they were just, the balance wasn't quite right. We've always had female engineers and technicians and developers, but it's just been really dominated by men, basically. And so the industry is there and the opportunities are there. And I think what's happening is, I will see, is that the IT industry in general is really just a little bit more clued in on the fact that, diversity is crucial when we're developing the products and platforms that people are going to use in the future. And so that recognition does open up opportunities, and it means that we look more critically at the decisions we make in terms of who we hire, what skills we are hiring for, and diversity of thought is a key thing that they look at when they're looking to hire individuals. The IT industry also really does lend itself to flexible working conditions. And, if COVID hasn't demonstrated anything enough, it's really that, having a flexible work life is actually really valuable, to be able to work from home, to be able to take that time out when you need to, if you've got, a sick family member that you need to look after, and be able to log in later on in the evening. Those sorts of opportunities mean that that work environment is much more conducive to supporting other family members and those sorts of things. So I think there's certainly a lot of opportunities, and you'll see that there are specific programs out there for the IT industry who are actively looking for female representation in their teams, because one of the big challenges with IT and any sort of business is when you're coming up with new ideas and you're innovating, you need to avoid that groupthink. And the way we avoid groupthink is that we bring in people that represent and have different perspectives on life. And that is where I think women, after all, we hold up half the sky. We are the ones making a lot of those buying decisions. And, any organization that doesn't recognize the fact that they need to create more opportunities for females, they're the ones that are ultimately going to miss out. So I think, certainly there's lots of opportunities. The Restart program is certainly one of those where we're, actively looking to encourage females into these programs to get them to that point where that they, we have an industry where it is balanced and we do have representation.
Absolutely, Kimberly. And in fact, a lot of people think women in tech is all about being a software engineer, developer, or hardcore tech. But I think this is a very wrong notion. We also have business profiles in tech. We have sales profile. We have marketing, communication. And I am myself into marketing. I have my entire career into tech marketing. I think so. People need to understand all the broad spectrum of the opportunities that the tech industry offers to women, and then accordingly apply and pivot their careers accordingly. But yes, you rightly mentioned about AWS Restart Program. So let's talk a bit more about it. Please tell us, what is a Restart Program? How women can benefit from it, especially if they want to restart their career in tech.
Yes, so the AWS Restart Program is an initiative by AWS. It's a corporate social responsibility program where we are in over 25 countries around the world, And it's a program specifically designed to take people from non-traditional backgrounds, and so non-technical backgrounds, and really develop them into the cloud practitioners of the future. So the program is, we work with local organizations. So we take AWS's kind of global best practices and we put them into this really solid 12-week course. And what we do is we take in individuals into the program, and over the course of that 12 weeks, we take them through IT foundational skills. They do cloud practitioner, they'll sit their cloud practitioner exam, and then they will also receive a whole bunch of soft skills that are wrapped around the program. It's an intense course. It's, as I said, it's 12 weeks, it's full time, and you work intensely for that 12 weeks to really build yourself up to those skills where you go into those entry-level cloud positions. You know, first line support, those sorts of premium support sorts of roles. And what it's designed to do is get you into that first rung on the ladder, that foot in the door. We work with our customers and partners and local organizations within each of the countries to really identify those employment opportunities and connect our graduates to potential employment opportunities. It's a really good program where it's really designed to be supportive. You know, we make sure the people that are in the cohort are really committed. You know, it's really focused on, you know, looking at what's this person's problem solving skills like? You know, what is their potential? Are they really committed to that career in cloud? Because we want those people into the program. And what we're finding are the individuals that we have that graduate from the program have a really good motivation, along with a really good baseline of skills, and they go out there to find those employment opportunities, and they're really valuable within organizations. You know, we're seeing within the marketplace that our customers and partners, they don't have enough cloud practitioners, and they're looking to help build that pipeline of talent. You know, we're seeing in, you know, various countries around the world, you know, we can't travel as much. And so what happens when we can't travel so much is that we have to make sure that the talent we've got in the country is actually adequate for the programs and the products people are developing. And so this program is really helping to support that. You know, it's a fantastic program. I'm really proud of it. Nothing brings me more joy than that graduation day, or when I get a note from one of our graduates that they've found that job opportunity and they've got their first position. It's a fantastic role that I have to actually mentor these people and get them to that point.
Great. So, Kimberly, I can't really think of a better person to lead this program than you, who actually belongs from a non-traditional background and then, you know, pivoted to tech. I think you yourself is a case study from this program, right? And not to, you know, forget that people from non-tech backgrounds can also apply for this program, right? So it is open to both non-tech and tech. So that is a really great thing about this program. So
yeah, and it's can I just add in there that, you know, it is really focused on people that are from those non-technical backgrounds. So it's really taking people from really diverse backgrounds, really different industries. They might have had a career in something else, but really helping them to get them to that initial point. But, you know, it's a really valuable program.
That's great. That's great. So, so tell us how our audience, women can apply for this program. Where do they start about this?
Okay, the starting point is I would encourage them to go to visit the AWS Restart website, and I'm sure we can include the link somewhere in the notes from today. But if they visit the AWS Restart website, they can have a look at the program, they can look at an outline, they can watch video content from some of our graduates and some of our employees to really get a feel for what the experience is like. That's a really good point to start. And then there's an inquiry form that people can fill out there if they're interested in potentially participating in the program, and we can connect them with the local organizations that can support them through that.
Great. So yes, we will leave the details about this program in the description, and we will also add a link in the chat box below. Also, Kimberly, if you can just help us, what is the cost of this program?
So the cost of the program is actually free to our learners who participate in it. So that's where we go, we take them through those aptitude testing, we make sure that people coming into the program that are committed, we want to make sure that the cost of entry is not an inhibitor for people. We need to make this as accessible as possible, and we want to make sure that everybody has an equal opportunity. So it's, you know, free to the learners, which is fantastic.
Wow, such valuable program, absolutely free of cost. I think everybody should join it, right? There's absolutely a win-win situation for everybody, right? So just tell us one more thing in terms of, is there any prerequisite to apply for this program?
No, there's no prerequisite for this program. It's really looking at people from a variety of backgrounds. You could be somebody that has been stacking shelves in a supermarket, or somebody who's had a background in finance. We want all. It's about diversity, and it's bringing diversity of thought. And yeah, it's open to all. What we ask people to do is come with enthusiasm and a real commitment to see this through. You know, we're committing to you, and we expect them to commit to us, and that's the relationship that we have.
And is this program already launched in India, or is it about to launch?
It is about to launch it in India. It's, you know, we've got collaborating organizations on board and ready to get started. So yes, it'll be available shortly.
That's great. So this is a 12-week program which has abundance of learnings for people who want to restart their career in tech. It is absolutely free of cost. It is going to be available in India by next month. I think this is a fantastic program, right? So everybody should look out for it if they are thinking about pivoting their careers to tech, or if they have recently taken a break and they are now thinking to restart their careers. I think this is a fantastic program. Thank you so much, Kimberly, for taking us through this wonderful program and sharing about it with our audience today. To wrap up, I actually want you to share one advice, to all the women who are right now pivoting their careers or want to start their career in tech. What would be the one piece of advice you want to give to the women?
Look, I would say jump in, say yes to opportunities. I think that is the way that you're going to try things. You know, try a bit of this, try a bit of that, and then you'll find that natural path to what is the right fit for you. You know, sometimes what happens is I think women tend to try and map things out too much, and so then you don't end up making a decision. So just jump in, try something, and you can always change that direction as you go along. I think some of the best careers are built out of the unknown and trying new things. So, you know, I would certainly recommend that's the one bit of advice I would probably have for our audience today.
Awesome. So I think the key takeaway from this entire session is one, learn and be curious, so that you are able to share what are the learning experience you had in your past. Second, experiment, just find what you like and keep experimenting till the time you find your career path which is interesting for you. I think the last would be just be open to new just jump right in and just give yourself that opportunity to fly, right, Kimberly?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kimberly. We had a lot of fun talking to you today, and thank you so much.
Thank you.